AJ, where are you dialing in from today?
Hello, sir. I'm from India, New Delhi, India.
From India, from New Delhi. Excellent stuff. Avashima, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Menorca, Spain.
Not jealous at all.
Where are you? Where are you based, Mac?
Northwest London, in a little village called Bushy. Alan, where are you calling in from?
I'm in a little village slightly south of you called West Hampstead.
Nice. Closer to the central side of things.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to get started if that's okay, because ultimately I like to respect the people that have made it on time onto the session, so that I can give you the most value, because ultimately this session is going to run for about an hour. And what I'll do this evening is I'm just going to give you a strong overview on LinkedIn. I'm going to go into quite a bit of detail. If you do want access to this recording afterwards, you can message me directly, connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll make it available for you. However, if you want to take notes, feel free to do so. I'm going to go through quite a bit of information, because I really want you to walk away with as much value as possible, so that you can understand what things you can go and do to get the best out of LinkedIn. So if that's okay with everybody, I'm going to do that throughout the evening. What I will do at the end is, for those people that stay until the very end, I did say in the registration form that you'll get access to my cheat sheet, and I'll let you know how you can do that. And I'll also let you know about some of the other programs that I'm running, depending on what you want to take away from today. You may find that today is enough for you to get going, but for those of you who want to take it to the next level, there will be options afterwards for you to be able to connect with me and do that. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. If at any stage I forget to share my screen and it sounds like I'm trying to tell you to look at something, but I haven't done so, please just unmute yourself and scream at me and say, "Hey, Mac, we can't see what you're talking about." But I'm going to go into the session now. So give me a second while I just change screens here. There we go. Okay, so I'm hoping everybody can see my screen. I'm going to go through this at a fairly rapid pace, and then hopefully at the end I'll be able to go through some practical examples and actually show you on LinkedIn some of the things you can do as well, just so that you can see some of the actual things in practice. And then if anybody has got any questions around what I go through this evening, I'll more than happily answer some of your questions, and maybe even do some demos, depending on the timing on your live at the end as well. Okay, so I'm going to go into, these are the takeaways that you're going to be able to take away this evening. And the 4 points are basically how to become an authority on LinkedIn. So I'm just going to give you some background on that. How to generate leads on LinkedIn, because I think that's really important to understand. How to get more engagement from your posts. It's one of the biggest challenges that I find on LinkedIn, is that often people will come onto LinkedIn and they'll be experts in their own right, but for some reason when they're posting, they just don't get any engagement, no likes, no comments, and not a massive reach. So the engagement side of things is going to be really important, to be able to make sure that you can when you're posting stuff and you're actually adding stuff to LinkedIn, that you're getting the best return and response on that, so that you can make an impact and ultimately generate leads as well. I'm going to go through some of the latest profile changes, content and connection basics, and all the stuff you really need to know about LinkedIn to make sure that you understand how it works. So before I do that, my name is Mac Laubscher. I've been on LinkedIn since 2007. I have run various of my own businesses. I consult for emergency services in various countries, and I've worked with blue chip companies as well as startups when it comes to social media and sales for over 20 years. And over the last few years, I found that social media has definitely evolved, and LinkedIn itself has become a whole new platform of where people are being able to build themselves up as an authority. Now, let me go through this with you very quickly. There's something called the 1990 strategy. and the 411 strategy, which I'll explain to you. But effectively what happens is a lot of people come onto LinkedIn and they kind of feel their way around. They start posting, or they start reaching out and trying to connect, or they put their profile together and they hope that people are going to engage with them and come their way. And then after a few weeks, a few months, a few years, they give up because ultimately they're not getting any results from LinkedIn. So what I tend to do is I teach people how to use profile, content, and connection strategy as a holistic approach to LinkedIn, to ensure that when your perfect prospect or your perfect client or the company you want to work with lands on your profile, they know you are the kind of person they want to work with. But then also, at the same time, when you reach out to connect with potential prospects or clients, when they look at your profile and they look at things like the content that you post, they'll be able to see that you are an authority within your space and you do know what you're talking about, and it's worthwhile connecting, which will increase your conversion rates for that connection strategy. And the other thing, from a content perspective, again, a lot of people will work on content, put amazing content out, but they won't look at the connection strategy and how they convert that into actual business. And a lot of the time when people are looking at content, it may look great, and then when they go onto your profile, it can be all over the place, or it might not send the right message. So we're going to cover all of those things this evening. So just to give you a little bit insight, pre-COVID, we had 630 million people registered on LinkedIn. Over 3 million people that were MBA graduates, IT decision makers, over 6 million, opinion leaders, over 17 million. And that number has now grown to 756 million since COVID. And this was the last report in April. So it's grown since then as well. So just by looking at that map, the chances are your country is on that map. But also the fact that there's so many opportunities internationally. So I help a lot of businesses be able to grow their business beyond local, regional postcodes. What I find is a lot of people tend to network or grow their business very locally and geographically in a very small area. So by leveraging LinkedIn properly, you can actually build an international client base very easily if you know how and if you're using the right strategies. Whoops, there we go. So this is the problem that most people face on LinkedIn, is 90% of people on LinkedIn, they just get no results, whether it's be from posting, from outreach, or just from having their profile updated. And most of them never get business from LinkedIn. So if you've ever either got some good leads or got business from LinkedIn, feel free to put that into the chat and just let us know that you have actually had some good results from LinkedIn. The other thing is, you don't know what you don't know. For me, I spent about 10 years on LinkedIn sending stuff to the platform. I found there were a lot of recruiters and a lot of marketers always trying to sell me something. But there were a lot of things that I just didn't know about how the algorithm worked and how content was supposed to work. So I'm going to show you some of those little tricks tonight. And then most get little or no engagement in their post, purely because they just don't understand the basics of things like when you should post, what hashtags to use, what you should put in your content, how to post and target a specific target audience, and all those things, which I'll address with you this evening as well. And please, if I'm going too fast, feel free to just put that in the comments and say, hey, Mac, just slow down. So the next thing is low conversion rates on connection requests. And a lot of the time that is because your profile is either not up to scratch, you don't have any content, or the messaging that you're using to try and reach out is not specific enough or not personalized enough, or you're doing what most people do on LinkedIn. And when LinkedIn recommends connections to you, you're just hitting the connect button, which isn't a very good strategy. So the other thing is lots of rejection. I find a lot of, especially people in sales or that are marketing their own business, will have a lot of rejection on LinkedIn, again, because of their approach, and we'll cover that with you today. The other thing is wasted time with no return on investment. So I assume, that if you're on here tonight, you respect your own time and you're looking for a way to make sure that you get more from the time that you do spend on LinkedIn. The last one is sending out copious numbers of applications. So as an example, if you are looking for a job, as an example, there are a lot of people that are sending out more CV or job applications today than there were ever before because of the number of people that are impacted by the global pandemic and therefore out of jobs. And this will allow you to stand out of the crowd so that you can actually get the attention of those perfect job opportunities you're looking for, or those companies you want to partner with, or potential clients. So the basics on becoming an authority on LinkedIn, it really comes down to consistency. Unfortunately, a lot of people will go onto LinkedIn and only do a little bit. Or they'll try it for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or they'll copy what other people do and try and do the same. And because they're not consistent, they tend to fail very, very quickly. Now, the concept of 1990, basically, to you, what that means is that only 1% of people on LinkedIn, it's actually closer to 2% over the last year, but historically, it's been around the 1% mark of people that actually post on LinkedIn. So they're actually adding content. Now, effectively, just by being somebody who posts on a consistent basis on LinkedIn means you can outdo your competitors, and 99% of them just by doing that one simple thing and by posting. Now, that doesn't mean that the content's of any value. So I'm going to go through that with you today as well. But the important thing to remember is you can very quickly be part of that 1%, and then you can start fine-tuning what you're posting and how you add value, and be far ahead of your competitors just by taking that one action. The 9 refers to what I call the journalists of the LinkedIn platform. And effectively what they do is those 9% are the people that are the voyeurs, the scrollers as such. And what they do is they like, they comment, they share, and they engage with that 1% that are posting on a regular basis. And those are the ones that LinkedIn look to when you post any content to see if those 9% will engage with it. And if they don't, LinkedIn won't show it to the other 90%. So if you could imagine having 100 contacts, if only one person in those 100 people are posting, and that being you, 9% of those people are going to decide whether the other 90% are even going to see your posts. So this is why it's really important to make sure that your content brings value, it's engaging, and that those people are able to engage with that post very quickly after it's posted, generally within the first couple of hours. The 90% are those who are literally, they never like anything, they never comment, they never send out too many connection requests, and they really play in the background very often. So with that 90%, what I find is most of my clients tend to find that's where their clients lie, is within that 90%. Those are the people who will watch what you post. They will see what you comment on. And they'll watch you for a while to see whether you are the kind of person that they want to do business with, or the person they want to employ, or whether it's somebody that they potentially want as a partner. So really important to make sure that you are looking after that information that you are posting on a regular basis as well. So the next part is the 4-on-1 strategy. So, just with if you can use the raise hands symbol as an example, when you go on LinkedIn on a regular basis, you see people trying to sell something in their posts. That's something that is very, very common. And a lot of people get quite annoyed by seeing people, thanks Rohit, seeing other people just posting sales content all the time. And it's, when you come up to that content in your feed, you tend to know exactly what that person's going to be posting about, because they're always trying to sell you something. So you end up scrolling past. Now, the reality is you can clean up your feed just by clicking on the top 3 dots on any post you don't like, or that you've seen too often. And you can decide to report that, and it will ask you if you want to have a look at, if you want to remove that from your future feed. So you can curate your feed, which is really important. The next thing is the 411 strategy is all about 4 pieces of value that you bring to the platform. So that is, you sharing content from other experts in your field, from local news articles or international news articles that give you credibility based and back some of the stuff that you talk about, so that you can bring value to the platform and those people that follow you for whatever reason or whatever profession you're in. The one then refers to one soft sell. What we basically say is, if you've posted 4 pieces of value, you can then do a soft sell where effectively you might do something along the lines of, hey, I've got an event running. If you'd like to register for that, please register by clicking on the link below. Or, our company is launching a new product. If you want to find out more, click on the link below. Or you may want to ask a question like, hey, if anybody in my network has got any, contacts within a specific field that they can introduce me to, it basically gives you that permission to ask for something because you've already provided some value. And the last one is effectively the one where you can do what we call a hard sell. Now, that hard sell isn't necessarily you posting an ad, but it can be something like, hey, I've got this new course going live next week, and if you want to sign up to that course, it's going to be running from this date to this date. Go over here to register. So this is where because it is a business platform, people expect you to tell them what it is that you do, how you do that, what pain points you solve for people. Obviously, the key thing here is having that balance so that you're not doing that all the time. The next thing really is the profile from an authority perspective, is making sure that the person that when somebody lands on your profile, if it's a potential client, that when they land on your profile, they know straight away who you are, what it is that you do. So I'm just going to go, hold on, let me do this. There we go. So can everybody see my LinkedIn screen at the moment? I'm assuming you can.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Thank you, Narendra. Excellent. We've got a few thumbs up there as well. Okay, so when I go onto my homepage, if somebody wants to land on my profile, if you go onto your own profile on LinkedIn, you click on the Me button and you click on View Profile, this will give you the profile that people see online. So what this effectively gives you is a few options that are really important to have a look at. And this is things like your banner, your profile photo, your name and headline. And I'm going to come back to that in detail, but effectively what you want to be able to make sure of is that when somebody lands on your profile, they know straight away what it is that you do. They know straight away what service you provide and who you're trying to help. So for me, I help business professionals unlock their potential by getting more business with LinkedIn. That's as simple as it is. And I run various different workshops. So the important bit over there is that when you land on your profile, and the easiest way to figure that one out is go and ask your clients what they see as the service you provide, why they did business with you. And if they go onto your LinkedIn profile, is that what they expect to see? Now, I've done this exercise with so many different business owners, and I recently actually did it with a gentleman who is an avid networker, and he runs regular networking groups, but he's been in marketing and SEO and various other things over the last 20 years. And when I went to his audience and his members and I said, hey, what is it that you think this guy does? All of them said, well, he's an avid networker. He's great at putting business together, connecting people. And when I said, okay, great, let's look at his profile, none of those things were listed on his profile. And that also meant that all the work he was doing on LinkedIn, trying to promote these events, it wasn't aligned with the message that he was trying to achieve. So when he posted and people went into his profile, they couldn't understand whether he was attending a networking event and he was just promoting it for somebody else, or whether he was just inviting people to the event. and it didn't even look like he actually was the person who organizes these, and had nothing mentioned on his profile because he hadn't updated his profile in about 5 or 6 years, and he used to be in marketing and SEO stuff before, so his profile was out of date. So these are really important things to go and have a look at to make sure, if you want to be authority in your space, that it's congruent with what you are currently doing, making sure your profile is up to date and you are consistently posting on a regular basis as well, and being authentic. There are a lot of people, I'm sure you've seen posts that go viral on LinkedIn, and then 3-4 days later you see the same post, but it's by somebody else and it's going viral again. Now, some people, they will try and get vanity metrics by getting a lot of people to view their posts, but ultimately it doesn't lead to business or the right connections. So you end up getting a lot of people connecting with you that are ultimately, you have to filter through a lot of people to try and find one out of 100 or 1,000 people that you may be able to have a real conversation with. So what I recommend over here, it's not about the big numbers, it's about making sure that you're getting those meaningful connections. So being authentic and not copying everybody else, and really, trying to show people what is unique about you. People, especially during the pandemic, really want to connect with people now. They want to understand what makes you different, what is your personality like, and people buy from people. So it is really important that you are able to connect with people and show them a little bit about your personality. So I'm going to go through more of that in a few minutes. And the one thing about posting often is you want to think about your audience. You want to understand where your audience are. If you've got an international audience, what time zones are they in? Where are the majority of them? Does it mean that if you want to appeal to the US audience, the Indian audience, and the UK audience, you may have to be posting at 2 or 3 different times to ensure that those people actually get to see your post? So as an example, I will post between midnight and 2 a.m. So that I can appeal and connect with some of my contacts that are in Australia or India, as an example. So you've got to think about where your audience lies so that you're not posting, as an example, if you are, sorry, I think we've just got a question there. Okay, so good question. How often is often when it comes to posting? I recommend not posting, typically once a day is more than enough. Even two or 3 times per week, depending on what industry you're in and what your strategy is. If you've got a massive strategy of going outbound to, and you're in a high targeted sales environment, then you may want to be posting on a regular basis, but you may also want to be posting at different times. I recommend no more than once a day, really, in the beginning, to over a 12-week period, to get yourself recognized on a regular basis. LinkedIn will drop your posts if you post too often as well. So as an example, if you post, if you're in the UK market, generally between 8 and 10 o'clock in the morning is a good time to post, because that's when most people will be checking their LinkedIn, and then they'll crack on and get on with their workday. Now, if you find that you are posting between 8 and 10 in the morning because you're in the UK, but your market is in the US or in India or anywhere else, you may then have a challenge of finding that the people that you want to see don't get to see your actual posts. So it's really important that you have a think about that as part of the process. The next thing is finding other experts in your network. So what I typically do, as an example, is if I want to find other LinkedIn experts to work with, I can literally put in, as an example, LinkedIn trainer, and I'll go and search. Now, when I do a search on LinkedIn, that's going to give me several different options. It's going to give me people to go and look at. So those are people that are currently LinkedIn trainers, but I might want to go and look at companies who do LinkedIn training. Or if I want to apply for a job as a LinkedIn trainer at a sales organization, I can go and look at jobs, or I can go and look at groups, schools, courses, events, services. So you can go through all of these to really go and find where people are hanging out that are looking for LinkedIn trainers, as an example. So I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I was doing a presentation to some medical graduates, and with the medical graduates, effectively what they wanted to look at is, just give me a second. There we go. Just putting that on mute. Welcome, Thelma. Thank you for joining us. So if you have a look at, I'm just going to put in here. So I'm just going to use the word surgery as an example. Now, if I wanted to look for anybody who had surgery in their profile, I can see there's somebody that's plastic surgery managing director, surgery group. So I can go and find people that have got surgery in their titles and very quickly go and connect with them, or go and have a look at what they are posting about. But what I tend to find is if I go into the search options, I can rather go and have a look at, as an example, groups. And I can see vascular and endovascular surgery. I might want to go and join that group and then have a look at who are posting in there and go and connect with those people. So, go and hang out, go and connect with other people that are like you in the industry, or potentially complement the services that you do so that you can leverage their network once you connect with them. Do we have any questions on that so far? Just going to wait for a few seconds in case anybody is trying to unmute. If not, I'm going to move on to the next one. Okay, so how to generate leads on LinkedIn. I'm going to show you a few of these things, but some of the things I've already referred to. So LinkedIn's all about making connections from individuals, but it's from those you personally know, but it's also those that, those experts within your industry that you also want to get to know, but it's all about relationships. I don't know if any of you have experienced this before, but you connect with somebody and within seconds of connecting with them, they send you a pitch and they want to try and sell something to you. And LinkedIn, that strategy is very old and it doesn't work on LinkedIn. In fact, the current statistics are somewhere around 1 in 500 success rate. So it's a lot of hard work for very little return. So it's really about building relationships and engaging with your target audience, your target companies, and the target groups, so that you can create a presence in the right space where your target audience hangs out. So we have a question here. What would have more engagement, a post from a business or a post from me? Very good question. So a simple way to answer that is, if you look at Richard Branson as an example, and you look at Virgin Media, Richard Branson has something like 13.5 or 14 million followers, and Virgin Media, I think it's about, or the Virgin company is about just under 1 million or close on 1 million now. Massive difference. People follow people, not companies. So, when it comes to, when you're posting, it's very important, if you're a senior leader within an organization, that you look at your marketing strategy, that you as that individual has a lot more influence on your company. So you can tag your company in your personal posts and still take people to that company page if there's a specific service or something that you want to promote. But ultimately, people follow individuals more than they ever follow company pages. So hopefully that answers that question for you. The next thing is personalizing your connection requests. If I go on LinkedIn, as an example, I'm just going to go onto my network, and I'll show you. So generally, when connection requests come through, it will look like this. So as an example, this person over here has sent me a connection request, but it's literally all they've done is they've hit the connect button. Whereas this person over here has actually put in a personal message in there. Now, the important thing is that when you want to go and connect with somebody, you actually put in a personalized message. And what I always recommend is, with that personalized message, you want to put in why you are trying to connect with people. And please, don't try and connect with people immediately when you see somebody who's a potential a client or prospect, because what you'll do is you'll make your life much harder down the line. Because what I find is a lot of people who reach out immediately before they've actually engaged with somebody, they tend to have a high connection rate, and they get excited because now they're connected to somebody. But then post connection, that's where it stops. There's no messaging. There's no other option of continued conversation. So it's really important that when you connect with people, you actually give them a reason why you're connecting. So what I would typically do is, if I've seen them comment on a post, I would go and comment in their post and just tag them in that. So I'm just going to give you an example. If I go to, I'm going to show you some of my posts. So just going to have a look at this one as an example. So if I go into a post and somebody has commented, typically what I would do, so you can see over here, this gentleman has commented on my post. Is that a gentleman? It's a lady. It's a lady. I'll have to open it up. But it's a second contact. So this is a medical student that's commented on mine. What I would typically do is, because we've now exchanged, it's a lady, there we go. So if I've already exchanged communication with this person, I would go and generally, I would have a look if there's an option to do a personalized connection. If it doesn't give me a personalized connection over here, I'll just hit the connect button. The connect button will give me an option to add a note. And I would tell them why I'm connecting. And I would go, there we go. There we go. So I would give them context as to why I'm connecting. So I'd either tell them, thank you very much for commenting on that post, and I'd refer to the specific post. Because a lot of people, if they're spending a lot of time on LinkedIn, they may not, if you say, oh, thanks for commenting on my post, they may not even remember what that post was or why. It might not have context because it might have been a few days or a few weeks since they've been on LinkedIn. Before they see this message. So I might put, as an example, I would give them some context on that so they knew exactly what the post was about. And then I'd go and hit send. Now, there's a much higher likelihood that that person will accept my request because of the fact that it has a personalized message and they know why I'm trying to connect with them. So does that make sense to everybody so far? Just raise your hand if it makes sense on the little icons that you've got the options to do that on. Fantastic. If you've got any questions, please pop them into the chat and I will respond to those. So the other thing is, once you've got that personalized connection request with the leads, the important thing is to follow up. Now, I am going to, so if you're on LinkedIn on your phone, as an example, you have the option, if you have got your phone in front of you, what I would suggest is just go onto the LinkedIn app, go onto your messaging, and Thelma, I'm going to pick on you if that's okay. But let me go into my LinkedIn and I am going to send.
Sure, Mark, go ahead.
Excellent stuff, Thelma. I thought you might be up for that. That's great. So what I'm going to do is that on the application, if you have a look over here, there are a few options. I can send a photograph, I can send an attachment, a GIF, emoji, or I can set up a video call. So if I click on that, I can go and do a Teams or a Zoom directly from LinkedIn. But what I want to do is on the mobile option, it has a couple of features. So one of them is there's a microphone where you can leave a voice message. So I'm going to do that quickly. So I'm going to click on that and I go, hey, Thelma, just leaving you a quick voice message from our LinkedIn demo. And I can then send that. And what will happen is it'll come up in her inbox. And now when you connect with people, because of the fact that I've sent a voice message, it will click on that and I go, hey, Thelma, just leaving you a quick voice message from our LinkedIn demo. So that adds context. Now, what I would generally do is, as most of you experienced over the last year, a lot of us are spending a lot of time on screen on Teams or Zoom. So some people may see the message, but now they don't quite know what it's about. So I would just go demo and just add that text and send that. And then at least she'll know that that voice message is regarding the demo, as an example. Now that is one of the options. And then you have another option on there where you can hit the plus button on the mobile app and you can actually do a video. So I'm going to record this one and I'm just going to say, hey, Thelma, this is us on the demo live on LinkedIn now. And I can send that. And what will happen is that'll come across as a little video on there, but you can do a personalized video message to somebody and actually record your face on there as well. So you can change, turn the screen around. Now, when you do that, the beauty of it is people get to hear your voice, they get to see your face. And it's a lot more personalized when you do that because it increases the chances of people wanting to connect and have a conversation. So I don't go into a massive pitch. I just literally just say, hey, thank you for connecting with me. And I would then take the conversation from there. Yes, Amit? Amit, did you have a question? I'm assuming not. It's okay. I'll put you on mute and put the question into the chat if you don't mind. Excellent. So hopefully that makes some sense with regard to the connection process. It's really important that you follow up, but use different ways of doing things. The old text method of just sending a message is, the conversion rate with that is fairly low, but if you use a voice message with a note or you use a video, increases your chances massively. And it just gets people to really connect with the person that you are as well. The next thing is set monthly goals with regards to your connection side of things, of how many people you want to connect with, both as industry leaders, experts, as well as potential clients. And I'll show you some of the ways that you can search and find those as well. So I mentioned posting often. The other thing is using different formats. Now, if you speak to any LinkedIn coach or trainer or expert around the world, they all give you advice on what works well in posts and what doesn't. But the key thing is don't get hung up on the view count, because there are different people on LinkedIn, and it's really important to make sure that you use different formats. So you use things like images, you use things like text, you use things like polls or videos, because each one of us have a different personality and a different way that communication appeals to us. So the more analytical people will look at text-based. The people that are more like me, where I'm an extremely visual person, when it comes to video and images, those will catch my attention over a text-based post any day. So you've got to look at trying to appeal to all your different types of personalities, and therefore mix up your content on a regular basis. The other thing is engaging with your connections. The biggest challenge that people have is, sorry, we've got a chat comment there. Okay, so that's a really good question. The question was, LinkedIn recommend that you only connect with people you know. Now, it's quite an ironic statement because LinkedIn is also built for people to grow their network internationally. And one of the things that they mean by that is one of the things that they've done recently. If you see on my my previous slide, I mentioned it said set monthly goals of 100 maximum, because what was happening on LinkedIn is there are a lot of automated services where people just use bots or automation to reach out and connect, and therefore it loses the personal touch that LinkedIn is trying to use. And when it comes to asking you, do you personally know this person? That normally happens either one, you're new to LinkedIn and you haven't got that many connections yet, so LinkedIn will always ask, do you know this person? And if you do, then they would, you'd still be able to connect. The key thing when it comes to why they ask you if you know the person is if you've built up a relationship with people on LinkedIn already, so either through commenting, through following them, through engaging with other stuff, or if one of your contacts have engaged with them and commented on their post, then it's much easier. And what I tend to do is I will say in my comments, if I've engaged with somebody on a post, I would actually say in the comments, hey, really great comment, I hope you don't mind. And as an example, if it's Rohit and you've commented on a post and we're not connected, I would then comment and say, hey, Rohit, that's a great comment. I'm actually going to reach out and connect if that's okay. So that person's already expecting me to send them a connection request, if that makes sense. And it increases the chances of that person accepting my request because of the fact that I've already preempted it. So hopefully that makes sense. Does that answer your question? I'm not sure who asked that last one. Excellent. Okay.
Hello.
Hi there, Johnny.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Question. Did you have a question, Johnny?
Sir, how to create a LinkedIn account?
How do you create a LinkedIn account?
Yes, sir.
Just go onto Google, search LinkedIn, and then just register on there. It's that
Sir, can you please specify?
So search on Google for LinkedIn.
Okay. Yes.
And then once you're on LinkedIn, all you need to do is just click the register button and follow the prompts.
Thank you, sir.
No problems. Okay, so moving along, what we have, the other thing is making sure that you engage. So I'm going to show you on I'm just going to have a look at a recent post in my feed as an example. So let's have a look here. So I'm going to go on to this post over here. So this is, as an example, one of my clients. He posted, and he has got several people that have commented on his post. But the important thing here is he has responded. So when people put ask a question about your post, he's gone and made sure that he has.
Mark, sorry, not sure if you're sharing your screen, but I can't hold.
There we go. I did say earlier, if I forget to share my screen, please shout at me. So well done. So in this post, as an example, this is one of my clients, and he posted earlier today as an example, and he's got several people that have engaged with his post. But one of the things that he's done and made sure of is that when people comment, as an example, he's responded and he tags the person that he's responded to, so that those people know that they have been, what's the word? They've been, I've lost the word now. But that their effort has been registered, and they can see that their comment has been responded to, because all people want is just to be recognized and be heard. And if you are asking people to engage with you, but you then don't respond to them, then very quickly you can lose your audience. So it's really important, as an example, over here, Russell's gone and he's put over here, where is this? So Connor's mentioned that he has an HP laptop, and he's gone and responded to Con. Now I can go and respond to that, and all I have to do is hit reply, and it should normally already tag the person that is the author. But I can also go and use the @ and the @ will let you tag anybody just by starting to type. So if I start typing and I'm going to, let's see, there we go. So Rohit, you can see as an example, I've just gone and put the @ but your name will come up. Now, if you were a second connection for me, it would say that you're a second connection as an example. So just by using the @ you can tag people so that they know that you have responded to them, and that will come up in the notifications as an example. So every time somebody comments on a post that you've engaged with, or they have mentioned you in a comment. So as an example, this person has mentioned me in a comment. It will come up in the notifications, and that's the real magic of working that engagement side of things. So with the engagement, it's really important. I don't know if any of you have seen, but on a regular basis, you'll get notifications from LinkedIn that says, "Oh, it's so-and-so's birthday," or "It's somebody has started a new job." Now, most of us will get annoyed with those, but the reality is we really need to engage with those. So the reason for that is that when you're on LinkedIn, if you've got, say, 1,000 connections or 10,000 or 30,000, LinkedIn are only showing your posts to a very small percentage of those people. And the way it works is most people don't realize that when you connect with somebody, LinkedIn look for an exchange of actual engagement. So they'll look at, as an example, if it was Thelma, and Thelma, we've got 2 Thelmas on there today. I have a Thelma. If I engaged with your, if I sent a connection request, but I never viewed your profile, we never sent each other a message, we never engaged in any form of communication, then ultimately LinkedIn wouldn't show my posts in Thelma's feed and vice versa. And that is because LinkedIn don't see it as a genuine connection. So LinkedIn uses its artificial intelligence on a regular basis just to have a look at, oh, okay, well, hold on, Mac chatted to Thelma last week. He's been on her profile this week, and he commented on one of her posts. And, well, clearly they're connected and they're engaging. So let's put some more of Mac's posts into Thelma's feed and vice versa. So that's really important if you look at that communication side too and start that engagement process. A lot of your connections that you haven't spoken to in 6 months, a year, 2 years, you probably don't see them in your feed. And the reason for that is because you haven't engaged with them in a long time. So LinkedIn look at it and go, okay, well, you haven't connected with that person in 6 months or a year. Let's pull them out of your feed because you're not engaging with them. You're not looking at their stuff. So it's trying to use that machine learning at the same time to help you curate your feed. So when you see it's somebody's birthday, you'll notice if you're one of my first connection, 99% of the time you're going to get a happy birthday message from me because I want to make sure that I'm still on your radar and that you know what's happening in my world and vice versa. So really, really important to do that on a regular basis. So we then have the last one, promote your LinkedIn URL on other social channels. Just as a show of hands, how many people have a personalized URL? If you know what that is, excellent stuff. So we have 2. I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So as an example, if you go onto your profile and you go view profile, on the top right-hand side of the page, you'll have something that says edit profile and URL. Now, one thing to take note of this is if you change this, any marketing material that points at your LinkedIn profile will be impacted if there's, as an example, if you've got a website that routes to your LinkedIn, you'll need to make sure that that website's updated if you change the URL. So if you look at my URL on the top of the page, you'll see it says linkedin.com/in, which and then Mac Laubscher official. Now I can go and I can edit that LinkedIn URL just by clicking on the edit, and there's a little pencil that you can go and edit, and you can effectively put anything in between 300 and 100 characters, letters or numbers. So as an example, you can change that and have Thelma, and then whatever your job title is or whatever your the problem is that you solve. So as an example, I could change mine to Mac Laubscher, the LinkedIn expert, as an example, if I wanted to. So you can play with that, but it just makes it more professional, and it doesn't have those numbers at the end of it. So if you've got all those random numbers at the end of your profile, it means that you haven't got a personalized URL. So I'm just going to stop sharing there. Let's just have a look at one of the last questions. Okay, so that was more of a statement. That's fine. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to go through is the engagement on the posts with you very quickly. So I'm just going to share the screen again. So if you're looking at posting, how do you get more engagement? The key thing is to make sure that you are posting, as I mentioned, consistently, but quality, not quantity. You want to make sure that you are providing value. So for me, whenever I see a headline or any changes to LinkedIn or LinkedIn merging or acquiring a new product or service, I will update my connections with a post about the latest changes to LinkedIn or the latest updates. In your posts, you want to use a headline that has a hook, and generally use kind of between 3 and 8 words at the most in your headline when you post, so that at least it catches somebody's attention, and then it goes into the content of the post. I don't know if any of you have ever used something called Grammarly. I tend to use it purely because I'm dyslexic, so it helps me with my spelling, but it also helps me with my grammar. And the Grammarly is a great way to tell you what the sentiment of your posts are. And LinkedIn tend to look at positive sentiment or emotive sentiment, but anything that has a negative sentiment or negative connotation or is abusive, LinkedIn will look at that and they'll drop your post. So, by looking at that, if you use Grammarly and it tells you it's very emotive or it's very positive, that will tend to help the language in your post as well. Sure, going at a rapid pace here. So we then have 3 things that you want to make sure that you post about at least once a week is, when it comes to your clients, what is the pain that you're solving for your clients? What is the process that you take them through? And what is the outcome that people get from working with you? So if you can tell a story that takes people through an example of, hey, I've been working with Alan, and Alan went through this experience that cost his business a lot of money. But what we did is we worked with him over a 12-week period. And at the end of that, we not only were able to fix the problem, but we were able to make him more profitable than he ever was before. That is a way of telling a story where people look at it and they can engage, but you'll be able to get people who can relate to that problem that Alan may have gone through. So if you explain what that pain is, and give people a story format, that is really useful as well. Okay, so with tagging, you've probably seen a lot of people post and they tag anybody and everybody in their posts. I only recommend that you ever tag anybody in your post if firstly they know about it, or you know them personally, or if you're giving them a shout out. A lot of people try and tag people so that they can get extra reach. Like they'll tag Richard Branson in a comment about, travel or space travel or whatever it is, purely because they're trying to use his name as leverage. Now, if Richard Branson or the person managing his account click on a button that says remove tag, LinkedIn again will knock you and it will impact your future posts as well. So really important to have a look at that. We then have hashtags. So with hashtags, one of the things, if you go onto LinkedIn and you go to the, so let me go over here. In the search bar, you can very easily go and search a hashtag. So I might want to go Virgin Australia as an example. Now you can see over there, Virgin Australia has 336 followers. Now that's not going to get me much reach and extra help on my post. But as an example, if I look at one of the most common used hashtags, I work a lot with universities and businesses in India. And if I use the hashtag India, you'll see that Hold on. They've lost their. Where is? Where did she put that in the comments? Oh, there we go. So if you look over at that hashtag as an example, it has 667 million followers. It's the most followed hashtag on LinkedIn. So one of the things you want to be careful of is you don't want to be doing as many hashtags as this person over here has done, because what tends to happen is LinkedIn see that as spam, and that'll impact your post. So it's really important that what you do is make sure that you keep those hashtags between 3 and 9 hashtags at the most, because LinkedIn have just recently changed their algorithm with regards to that as well. Okay, and make sure that the hashtags are relevant to the posts that you are sharing as well. So the last thing that I wanted to go on is very quickly go over your profile content and some of the basics, so that you understand the key things to go and look at on your profile. So I'm going to go on to my profile as an example, and I'm just going to show you a few things to have a look at. If you go onto your profile, it's really important to make sure, firstly, you have a banner that's relevant and updated. This is one of the key areas for marketing. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have a banner, and it's prime real estate on the platform. The other thing is making sure that you fill that picture. If you've got a photograph of yourself, people want to be able to see your face and connect with the human being that's in there. Now, you do have an option on there, which is something called the cover story, which is brand new. And in order to have the cover story, you can only add it on your mobile phone. So if you go onto your mobile phone on LinkedIn, click on that photograph, you will be able to have an option where you can upload a 30-second video, which is basically like a elevator pitch, where you can tell people about yourself and what it is that the services that you offer. On here as well, you've got something called your dashboard. You want to make sure that your dashboard is something called All-Star. And basically what that means to you is that you have gone and completed all these sections on LinkedIn. And you want to make sure every single section, even if you just put a full stop in there, it's done, so that you will rank on searches on LinkedIn under the terms you want to be found for. And then there's the new creator mode. So just make sure that you've got that on, because that's going to change. It's going to upgrade your account to the latest platform as well. So creator mode will give you that opportunity to be able to reach more people, and you'll start seeing different content come through as well. One of the other things that is really important is your featured section. You can go and add multiple things to your featured section so that other people can see a really good version of who you are and what you do. So this gives you an opportunity to share and feature posts that you've done recently. You can feature articles, links to your other websites, forms, upload media like certificates or certification, or accreditation as an example. And then when you go into your experience section, make sure that it's in order of what you're currently doing. And if you find it's not, it's actually quite easy. All you have to do is, you see those 4 lines on the side over there, you can drag your experience into the order that you want it to be. So a lot of people, like myself, run multiple different projects. So it's very easy for you to literally just go and reorder those in the order you feel that you want to have them. So as an example, if you're running a campaign on one of your projects, you can go and change the order of your experience. So that week, everybody who lands on that are landing on your profile because of something that you posted that's relevant to that experience, you can just make sure that that's higher up on the profile option. Make sure that you fill in things like education, volunteer space, everything that you can. And the last part that I highly recommend is going to look at your recommendations. When you go and ask for recommendations, I'm going to show you, let me just do this. There we go. This is something as a last thing that I'll finish off with. But recommendations, it's vital that you ask very specifically what you want from your recommendations. Because ultimately, I find if you ask for a recommendation, as an example, I might go to Thelma and say, hey, Thelma, thank you very much for attending my free session. Can you please write me a recommendation? And that's it. And then Thelma comes back and goes, hey, Mac was a very nice guy. And that's it. Now, that may not benefit anybody who reads that recommendation because they can't understand the context, what was beneficial, how it helps them. So I tend to always ask and be very specific, because people always, when you ask somebody for a recommendation, they tend to want to be nice and leave you something that's nice, but they want to go away and think about it. So I tend to find that a lot of times when people ask for recommendations, they don't end up getting them because people will not prioritize it because in the fear of leaving a recommendation that doesn't quite say the right thing. So I am very specific. I tend to go, I'd really appreciate if you could write a recommendation about my sessions, how you found me, what you've learned, what others should do to, join one of my sessions, anything else that can be relevant. And then most of my business comes from recommendations through LinkedIn. And then, so it would be really awesome if you could leave that recommendation. So, I give them very specifics. Now, I tend to change those depending on what the reason is that I'm asking for a recommendation, but I'm very specific so that when people read it, they go, okay, I know exactly what Mac's asking for. And that way, when people read your recommendations, you get more value from them as well. So I'm going to stop sharing over there and allow just some Q&A for anybody that has any questions that they may want to ask. Here we go. Just 1 second. Copy. So what I've done as well is I've just put a form into the chat group for anybody who wants to find out more about some of the other courses or sessions that I run, one-on-one sessions or group sessions, where you can go and register. And once you've clicked on there, what appeals to you, you don't have to commit to anything, but at least it gives you a good idea. I am running and starting some new courses from the 5th. So that's next week, the 5th of July and the 8th of July, where it's a lot more involved. And I help people through a 12-week program, either on group training or one-to-one. And again, it just depends on your availability and your budget. But it's where I help individuals go through a massive transition within 12 weeks. Most of my clients are in a position where their industry experts see them as one of the authorities to follow within their space on LinkedIn by following a specific program. It doesn't run at the pace that we ran today. We only tend to cover 2 or 3 points at a time in order to make sure that you can go away and action that and be able to implement that by the following week as well. So does anybody have any specific questions that they'd like to ask, or for me to go onto their profile and give them some feedback on for the next 5 minutes? I'm happy to answer any questions that you may now have.
Hey Mark, Thelma here.
Hey Thelma.
Okay, let me turn on my camera so you could add a face to my name. Hi Mark.
I get to see one live person today. That's great. Good to see you, Thelma.
How are you?
I'm very good. Are you dialing in from Liberia?
Yes, sure.
Oh, awesome stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a really good presentation, and trust me, I'm in a meeting, but then I lowered my volume to attend this.
Brilliant. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, since I'm not doing presentation. So my question would be,
yep.
Maybe I'll also chat you up to ask you a couple of questions about my profile. But then recently I've been experimenting different things. So if you check go onto my profile and check, so probably everybody will see. Maybe. Sorry, I want to wait there. So I've been experimenting different things because you hear most LinkedIn coaches say text works well, video works well, this one works well. So I'm just trying to add different things. So if you go through my profile, you'll see that I've posted several things. I've posted videos, I've posted text and stuff to just see how the engagement and the viewership is.
Okay.
But then one thing I want to ask is, at what point do I get to see someone as my first, second, or third connection?
Only so a first connection is somebody that you physically sent a connection request to. So as an example, if everybody looks at my screen now, you'll be able to see on this post where you've done a text post. If I click on where the people that have liked your post, if I click on that number, it will show me that you are a first connection because we've now connected. But it will show me all the other people on your post, and it will show you that they are now second connections, which means they are your first connection.
Oh, okay.
So for me, they're a second connection because they connected to you.
More like mutual friends.
Mutual friends, yes.
Okay. So
Okay.
if it's a third connection, that means that's a mutual friend of another mutual friend.
Correct.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So
Thank you so much.
It's just a degrees of separation. What I would suggest for you, Thelma, is everybody that has engaged, so all of these people, if they've engaged with you, make sure that you send them a thank you, that you send them a connection request if they're not a first connection. What that will do is it will increase your reach on LinkedIn because it will show that you appreciate those people.
Okay.
When it comes to the different types of content, it's important. Sorry, I've got. Okay, that's your background. You've got a lot of people in the office.
Huh?
It sounds like you've got a lot of people in the background.
Yeah. I'm currently in my husband's office. I didn't work from office today. That's why.
Okay.
And he's having a guest.
Okay, that's fine. So what I was saying is, when it comes to the different types of content, don't worry about how many views you get from video versus text versus images. Keep mixing it up, because I've had some posts where I've only had like 50 views and like 5 connections, 5 comments, and I'm like, oh well, that post didn't go anywhere. And then like a week later, I'll get a message going, Mac, that post really, the information that you put there really helped me. Can we have a discussion? And I'm like, wow, I didn't even think that went anywhere, but only because I said thank you to that person for engaging. And then my other posts, I had a post the other day, it got 28,000 views in something like 6 hours. I'm sitting there going, wow, this is crazy. But ultimately, the people that viewed the post, I didn't get a lot of those people who came back to engage. And don't expect results immediately after a post. I tend to expect nothing for at least 3 to 6 weeks, because ultimately you might post something that's really on point that people really like, and they don't engage with it, they don't like it, they don't comment. But what they might do is they might go over here. If you look on LinkedIn, say you've got a post that you like and you want to go back to it later on and comment on it, or you want to engage with that person, all you do is you click on the 3 dots and you click save. And when you click save, if you go onto your own profile, if I go view here, and I scroll down, and I go to over here where it says my items, I can click on that and it will give you different things that I've saved. You'll have jobs, learning, or posts. And then I've got that post, because yours is the most recent one, is now saved as a post. So I can go back to that in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks time, once I have been following your other posts, and then go back and comment on that and go, actually, Thelma, thank you so much for that. Or I can just connect with you. So you just don't know what people are looking at. So that, some people will just view your profile. Some people will engage. Some people won't do anything. But most of my clients tend to find that the people who do business with them or end up where it actually leads to something tend to be people who they've never even heard of, and they just get a phone call one day and go, I've been watching you. And you're like, that's a bit weird, but okay. But it's a good thing, because they've been looking at whether you are consistent. They look at whether you're really bringing value, how you answer other people. So people really are checking, and they build relationships with people. And that's why I recommend 30 to 60 second personal videos, video posts once a week, once every 2 weeks, just where you are looking at your audience, speaking to, and when you speak, try and speak as if you're speaking to one person as opposed to too many, because it's normally one person who's watching that. So if you speak to one person and do all your content like you're speaking to somebody directly rather than generic, because people want to feel like they've been, like you've speaking to them and that you understand their problem. So, look at how you write those posts rather than being generic and trying to include everybody, because some people might go, okay, well, they deal with everybody. I want somebody who understands me. Does that make sense? Excellent. Any other questions?
That makes so much sense. And then, is there any way you could actually see whether, for instance, Instagram will let you see that, okay, this post have been saved, or you've got this many connection from this post? Is there anything like that on LinkedIn?
So you can't really see. I'm actually doing on Clubhouse on Thursday. I'm doing a talk with a company called Inlytics, which are an analytics platform. And that allows you to be able to see a lot more data on your LinkedIn connections, your posts, what is working, what isn't working, who connects with you, which countries they connect from, all of that stuff. It gives you a lot more detail. So if you want to find out more information, keep an eye out. I actually posted about it last night for the Clubhouse event. So just go onto my posts and you can go and save the event there. And it's a free event to go and attend as well on Clubhouse, obviously.
That'd be awesome. I'll definitely check you out on Clubhouse. And then my next question will be, if anybody have questions, please
if anybody else has got a question, please jump in. But yeah, go for it, Thelma.
My next question will be, most times, right? I see where somebody's headline, that's their profession and what they do or whatever, it's a bit different from what the content they put out.
Yeah.
How do you tweak that to make sure you're not confusing your audience?
Okay, so you're talking about, let me go and share that with you. So just as a reminder, if anybody wants to find out more about any other courses, I know that this is scheduled until 7 o'clock, or UK time. So if you do need to go, feel free to go and fill that in so that I can get back to you with regards to the cheat sheet, as well as the future, and other information that you may want from the back of this. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, so if you go on to the top section over here under your photograph with a little arrow and you click on View Profile, this is where you get to edit all that information. So if you click on that pencil, you've got that option to go and put your headline as to what information you want to put in there, which company you're currently working with, and then you've got an option to add all your contact info. Really important to make sure that that's up to date. Unfortunately, what I find is most people will want people to do business with them and reach out to them, but on their banner or in their headline or under their contact info, there's no phone number, there's no email address, there's no website. So people go on, and because people normally put their settings quite restricted, what ends up happening is you've got somebody who sees your profile, thinks, I want to work with this person, but I have no way of contacting them. And they don't want to go through the red tape of going onto a website, filling in a form, or doing an info at email. They really want to be able to connect with you personally and directly, and you lose the opportunity by not providing that information. Does that answer your question, Thelma? Okay, you're on mute, but I'm assuming that was a yes.
Yes. I forgot I was on mute. Yes, that answered my question.
Okay, excellent stuff. Yeah, so as an example, you'll see over there, mine is the LinkedIn expert. Now, one of the things that you'll notice, and I just want to show you, I'm just going to go over here. The most important bit of your headline at the top here is if I go and engage with somebody, as an example, okay, so Pratik is one of my favorite people to follow. This guy's a tech genius. But as an example, if I go and comment on his post, what will happen is, if you look at this information, this is the best way to look at what needs to be on your profile. So it will say, Mac Laubscher, and then the LinkedIn expert, the host of Life Hacks with Mac. So it straight away tells people that I work with people and help them with LinkedIn. So it's very clear, and that's those characters across there is the bit that you really want to get right on LinkedIn, because that is effectively up to it's those first two lines that you see on top there. Those are the first two lines that you want to make sure that are on point. They basically say who you are, what you do, and what problem you solve.
Okay.
Okay.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Mark.
Only a pleasure. No, do we have any other questions from the other Kolabake? I'm not sure if I pronounced that right.
For I was thinking of, kind of slipped my mind. Once I remember, I'll let you know.
Okay.
But the ladies in the room, they're my friends that I invited to this.
Okay.
So Labake and Thelma, they're my friends from college.
Brilliant.
Yes. So thank you guys for joining. I hope this was helpful. If you have, it's been very insightful for me. If you have questions, please leave it in the chat section, or you can connect with Mark on LinkedIn and send him questions, or you could you could get to him to review your profile and let you know some helpful tips on how you can stand out on LinkedIn as well.
Excellent. And I'm assuming you've all registered previously anyway, because you've got the invite.
Yes, exactly.
What I will do is I'll be sending all those people who attended tonight, they will be getting an email with the access to my LinkedIn cheat sheet, which is basically an hour's worth of research that I put into about 6 or 7 pages.
Oh, nice.
How to use profile, content, and connection strategy effectively on LinkedIn.
That's awesome. And I just wanted to throw out to you, Mark. So I'm no pro with LinkedIn because I signed up to LinkedIn a couple of years ago when I was in college, but I didn't really make use of the space. Okay. It's just I realized that I kind of have a strong leg on Facebook and Instagram because I'm into fashion. Okay, let me show you around. So let me see. Right here. So I'm into fashion. I make clothes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been more present on Instagram and LinkedIn, but then a couple of years ago, I started building my personal brand as a writer. So I write poems. I'm mainly a creative writer, and I'm more into the brand and communication space.
Yeah.
So I decided, like, if I want to stand out, I know I'm cool with Facebook and I'm cool with LinkedIn, I'm cool with Instagram, but then I thought to myself that I need to strategically position myself on LinkedIn because I want people in this space to take me seriously and to check on my content, and I want to give them value. So I decided to, it was just a month ago, I decided to be really intentional about LinkedIn, and I've been jumping in different rooms on Clubhouse and listening to different coaches because I have tons of people. Somebody reached out to me today from Sri Lanka.
LinkedIn just makes the world such a tiny place. Liberia, there's so many exciting things happening out that side, and you've got some of the best beaches in the world.
Yes.
It's definitely one of those places that are on my what do they call it, bucket list. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me know. I'll be happy to connect.
Excellent stuff. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've got to go, but I look forward to connecting, seeing your posts. Please go and fill in that form and just let me know, what the next steps are for you so I can send you your cheat sheet.
All right, sure. Thank you so much, Mark. I had a great time.
Excellent. Pleasure. Thank you so much. And it's nice to meet you not only on chat.
Yeah, it's so true. All right, take care. Have a wonderful evening.
Cheers, everybody. Have a great evening.
Bye, ladies.
Bye, everybody. Nice meeting you.